Year 3, welcome to Maths with me today. Now for the last couple of weeks you have been doing lots of work at home on length and perimeter, and we're going to leave that for now and we're going to move on to look at a large unit of work which is to do with fractions. Now fractions is something that you have looked at throughout your time at the infant school, and we're going to pick it up now. We're going to revise that learning you've done in the past, and we're going to move on and bring in lots of new learning as well. So this first slide here we're going to look at is just a bit of vocabulary for you, and you're going to be needing this vocabulary over the next couple of days. So here we have got the term unit fractions, and what you need to know about unit fractions is that a unit fraction is where the numerator is 1. As you can see over here, this top number is called the numerator. When the numerator is 1 and the denominator, which is the bottom number in the fraction, when that number is a whole number, we call that fraction a unit fraction. Okay, so the example I've got here for you is 1/4, and because the numerator is 1, that makes it a unit fraction. You also need to know about non-unit fractions as well. That is very similar. The difference is, in a non-unit fraction, the numerator is greater than 1 and the denominator is again still a whole number. Okay? This example here I've got for you is 3/9, and because the numerator, the top number, is greater than 1, it's 3, we call that a non-unit fraction. So you're going to need to know these two terms for today's lesson and tomorrow's lesson as well. You can always refer back to this slide when you're doing your work just to make sure you understand what those words mean. Okay, what I've got for you this morning is I'm going to go through an example of each of the questions on the work that we have set for you on our website for Wednesday. Okay, so these are examples from Wednesday's worksheet. And the first one asks you to match up the fractions below. So as you can see here, there are 3 columns of fractions. We have got fractions written in words, and then fractions written in numbers, and then fractions represented in shapes over here. And the first thing I would do to match up these fractions properly is I would have a look at the words here and start with the top one, which is 1/2. What I would then do is I would look to see which of these fractions here represents a half. Now, this is a revision from year 2, so hopefully you remember that when something is divided in half, it's divided into 2 equal parts. So we're looking for a denominator that has 2, and we can see it's down there, so we can match that up. Then we need to move over to this final column here and say to ourselves, which one of these representations has been divided into 2 equal parts? And we can see it is this circle here. There's 1/2 that's been coloured in pink and the other half that has been left blank in white. So that would match up like that. I'm just going to do one more of these for you. I'm going to start with this next one, which is 3/4. Now hopefully you remember that if something is divided into quarters, it is divided into 4 equal pieces. So we're looking here for a fraction that has been divided into 4. The denominator needs to be the number 4. Now, there are 2 possibilities. This top one here has got a numerator of 3 and then quarters down the bottom, and this fraction here has got a numerator of 1 and then the quarters at the bottom. Now, I know that I actually am going to be needing to look for this top fraction here, and the reason is because my numerator is 3, and my vocabulary here also says 3. So 3/4 will go with this fraction here, and when I'm looking at my representations over on the right hand side, I am looking for 4 equal shapes, 3 of which have been coloured in because my numerator is 3. Now down the bottom here I can see I've got 4 triangles with this one, and I've got 4 rectangles with the bottom shape there. So it could be either of those, except 3 parts need to be identified, in which case it is going to be the blue triangles there, because 3 out of the 4 triangles have been shaded in. They have been identified. So you have got some examples of this kind of question on Wednesday's worksheets for you to have a look through. The next question we're going to go through together is this one here, and it says circle the fraction represented below. So this representation here, to work out what it actually shows us, we first need to work out how many pieces, how many equal pieces the shape has been divided into. So we're just going to count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I know that my denominator is going to be 9 because there are 9 pieces altogether. To find my numerator, I need to know how many of those pieces have been shaded in. So I'm going to count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that gives me my numerator. So this fraction says 4/9, and I can see down the bottom, out of the choices I've got there, 4/9 is down the bottom there. So that is the fraction that I should be circling. Okay? You've got a couple of examples of those kinds of questions in your worksheet pack as well. Okay. The next one here says match the fraction to its representation. So we've got on the left-hand side some fractions written in numbers and in words, and then some picture representations over here. What I would do to make this easy for myself is I'd just go through and read each of these fractions first to make sure I understand them, and also the ones that are in words, I would write them in numbers as well. So this one here is 2/4. This one here says 4 out of 9 equal parts, and we would write that like so. Then we have 2/5, and finally 6/9. That would be 6/9 written like that. All of these, as you can see, hopefully, are non-unit fractions because the numerator is greater than 1 each time. Having a look now at the pictures on the right-hand side, we need to match them up. So first of all, having a look at this fraction here, denominator is 4, it's in quarters. We need to see which of these representations has been divided into 4 equal parts. We can see this triangle has been divided into 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 small triangles, and 2 parts of those have been shaded in lilac. This one will match up like that. This next one down here, 4/9, we are looking for a shape that's been divided into 9 equal parts. This one's got a lot of parts. It could be that one. Let's have a count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, that has got 9 equal parts, but have 4 of them been shaded? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, a lot more have been shaded. 6 have been shaded, in fact. So actually, 6/9 will match with that one there. And then 4/9. Let's have a look. This circle down here has also been divided into lots of parts. I'll just check and see if it's 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 4/9 will go down there. I can see that 4 of those parts have been shaded in yellow. And then finally, 2/5. Let me just check. Are there 5 pieces? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 of them are shaded in blue, so that one will match up like that. Okay. Right, next question is to find the odd one out in the fractions below. Now, you might look at these pictures and think, oh, it's quite confusing. Let me explain how to read these pictures in terms of fractions. Okay, we'll start off with the pairs here. To find the denominator, we need to say how many pairs there are in total. 1, 2, 3. And then how many pairs have been separated by the circle or the oval? In this case, it is 2. So this representation here is showing 2/3. And we're going to do the same for the other pictures as well. So in total, there are 3 blue flowers. That gives the denominator. And then 2 of them have been separated in an oval, which gives 2/3. Down here, we have got 1, 2, 3, 4 cookies. That gives us our denominator. And 3 of them, 1, 2, 3, have been identified in circle. And that gives a different fraction of 3/4. So if you're being asked to find the odd one out, this one is 2/3, this one is 2/3, this is 3/4. C will be the odd one out there. Okay? There are a couple of examples of that kind of question as well for you to have a go at by yourself. Now, this is the last one I'm going to go through with you right now. It says to sort the fractions below. Okay? We love a sorting activity. There's a table here that has 2 columns to it. We've got unit fractions, and that is when we have got a numerator of 1. And then we have non-unit fractions as well, and that is any fraction, for example, 3/4, where the numerator is greater than 1. So, if I have a look here, 9/10 is the first one I can see. I know straight away that because the numerator is more than 1, it is 9, it must be a non-unit fraction. When I've done that, I'm going to cross it off so I don't make a mistake and do the same one twice. 4/7 I'm going to look at next. It's a bit easier for me to write it as a fraction in numbers. So the 4 becomes my numerator and the 7th becomes my denominator. Once again, the numerator is greater than 1, so 4/7 is a non-unit fraction as well. And then moving down here, 5/9, again, 5 is greater than 1, and this top number here is the numerator, so 5/9 would go into that section as well. This one here is a picture representation of a fraction. The best thing to do would be to write that as a fraction in numbers before you start. So we need to see how many equal pieces there are to get our denominator. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 equal pieces, and then 1 of those pieces has been shaded in. So this is a 1/4, and because our numerator is 1, this fraction is a unit fraction. So I would write it in there like that. And then finally, this last picture here, do exactly the same thing. Write the fraction in numbers. There are 3 pieces in total, 3 equal pieces. 1 of them has been shaded in pink, which gives us 1/3, and because the numerator is 1, this is a unit fraction. Okay, that's the last example I'm going to go through for Wednesday's work. So this is part 1 of our maths videos this week. Tomorrow, have a look at part 2. I'm going to take you through the questions for Thursday's work. So hopefully that all makes sense, and have fun with the worksheets.